welcome to everyone. I'm Francesca Magli. I'm assistant professor of University of Milano-Bicocca. In this lesson I'm going to talk about organogram. An organizational chart or organogram is a diagram that shows the structure of an organization and the relationship among people, departments and jobs at different levels within that organization. The organogram represents the organizational structure of a company. It shows the responsibilities of each department, the relationships among the departments, and the hierarchy of management. What is the purpose of an organogram? The purpose of drawing an organogram is to create a structure with clearly defined roles, functions, scopes of authority, and system which help make sure everybody is working towards the same goal. What are the most important aspects that the organizational chart shows? It shows the complexity of the business, the different roles and relationship among the various positions, hierarchy, that is in connection with rights and responsibilities, so who controls whom, who is responsible for whom, knowledge levels, function and divisions, depending on the complexity of the organization. We'll talk about it later. The next slide develops this concept. All organizational charts have similar elements that allow them to be easily interpreted and understood by people inside and outside of the organization. Charts consist of shapes and lines that represent work units and their hierarchy. The basic building block in an organogram is the rectangle. In this slide we analyze also the meaning of the rectangle and the lines. The rectangle represents job roles and responsibilities. They may include employees' names, employees' departments, job titles, job positions. There are also lines or arrows linking them to other employees and departments, thus representing their relationship. The arrows can convey two opposite meanings. If the arrows go from top to bottom, usually they represent who is responsible for whom, while from the bottom up they represent who should report to whom. By looking at the organizational chart, people can gain a quick understanding of the organizational design, of its complexity and of where each employee fits into the organization. What are the most important differences between a line position and a staff position? A line position is directly involved in the day-to-day operation of the organization, such as producing or selling a product or service. Line positions are composed by line personnel and line managers. Line personnel carry out the primary activity of a business and are considered essentially to the basic functioning of the organization. Line managers make the majority of the decisions and direct line personnel to achieve company goals. An example of a line manager is a marketing executive. When a rectangle is connected horizontally outside of the vertical hierarchy, typically this position indicates an assistant or staff person. Staff positions serve the organization by indirectly supporting line functions. Staff positions consist of staff personnel and staff managers. Staff personnel use their technical expertise to assist line personnel and aid top management in various business activities. Staff managers provide support, advice and knowledge to other individuals in the chain of command. An example of staff manager is a legal advisor. In the next slide we will see some typical organizational chart composition. In this organizational structure we will show the simple structure or flat structure. A flat or single structure is defined as a design with a division in few departments, centralized authority, and little formalization. A flat organization is very flexible in the decision-making process because the flow of information from the lowest to the highest ranks of the organization is short and consequently fast. The type of design is very common in small startup businesses. For example, in a business with few employees, the owner tends to be the manager and controls all of the function of the business. A flat organization usually consists of the director and then the individual teams or departments. Often employees work in all parts of the business and do not just focus on one job, and in this type of design there are usually no standardized policies and procedures. What are the most features of this structure? Unique line of products and services or services, focus on the production, commercial function, two hierarchical levels, direction and operational level, flexible and slim structure. Work division is very simple and the costs are not high, and there are few organizational conflicts. Now we move to a slightly more complex structure. When the company begins to expand, then the structure tends to become more complex and grows out of the simple structure. Here it comes the functional structure. This type of structure is defined as a design that groups similar or related activities together. In a functional structure, positions are grouped based on the type of work they do and the skills required to complete that work. Organizations employing this kind of structure are divided into functional areas like marketing, engineering, and accounting. Each functional area is usually led by an administrator with expertise in that field. The most features are there are more functions inside of this type of structure, two hierarchical levels, direction, composed of the general manager and the directors of various functions, and operating level. There are, however, line units and staff units, job specialization, and quick decision-making process. Another type of more complex structure is a divisional structure. In this structure, an organization is divided not into functional areas but into divisions. A divisional structure is made up of separate semi-autonomous units or divisions. Thus, divisions which can be created around product lines, markets, or geographic regions usually are given more independence and sometimes even act like separate companies. This structure, usually employed by businesses who's grown into new products, markets, or regions, makes the functional structure too complex. Decisions inside those divisions can be made more quickly. The manager in charge of the division oversees his division and is completely responsible for its success or failure. This gets managers to focus more on results because they will be held accountable for them. What are the most important characteristics of this structure? Divisions for products or market, three hierarchical levels, direction, division and operational function level, and there are also line and staff units, decision-making autonomy of each division, more empowerment and specialization of divisions, and less or reduced rigidity of structure. Another important structure is a matrix structure. This type of structure combines aspects of the functional and divisional structures. Organizations using a matrix structure are organized according both to the function and divisions. As in the divisional structure, the divisions can be built around products, markets, or geographic regions. Employees in a matrix structure simultaneously report to a functional manager and a divisional supervisor. There is no univocalized structure. Enterprises frequently alter their structures as they grow in size and complexity, especially due to changes in the position of the decision-making authority or in the degree of reliance on key people. In conclusion, in order to summarize our knowledge in organogram structure, we can see here that there are two slides that represent a bad and a good structure of an organizational chart. The first is the bad one, where we can identify three most important issues. The first issue regards Unit 1, 2 and 3, that are both under the direct control of the Chief Administrative Officer and the Director General. The problem is twofold. Who is controlled by whom? The person in charge of the control of these units does the same work of commanding, coordinating and controlling the units that are already controlled and coordinated by another person. This creates confusion and especially a redundancy of tasks. The second important issue with the proposed structure is the efficiency functions or roles as tech operations and community operations are given authority over effectiveness function, such as research and development and accounting management. What does it mean? This representation of the structure creates confusion because the person in charge of research and development, which requires exploration and risk-taking, has to report daily to tech operation, which requires great control and risk mitigation. The same is for the account manager, who, in order to be effective, must give these key accounts extra care and attention, the account manager that is below of community operations. But within this structure there is an increasing demand for standardization towards greater efficiency because that's what community operation requires. There is another important issue. The third issue regards the type of function. There are short-run functions and long-run functions, or functions where the decision-making process has different lengths. For example, sales and marketing are both focused on effectiveness, but sales has a short-run focus, while marketing has a long-run focus. If marketing reports to sales, then marketing will begin to look like a sales support function instead of a long-run positioning, strategic and differentiation function. Thus, marketing won't be able to meet the long-run needs for the company. The second organizational chart is good. The roles are clear. There are even the name of the directors or managers. The relation transparent, and also line and staff position are represented in the right place. The functions supporting the organization with specialized advisory role as legal affairs, governance, communication, strategy indeed are in staff positions, and the function directly involved in the day-to-day operations as sales, operations, administration and finance are in line positions. So that's all. Thank you very much for your attention.